This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
6 o'clock as you walk out the door this morning. Have the umbrella handy as we'll deal with some scattered showers through the daytime hours today. But later on tonight, it could turn to a little bit of a wintry mix.
A big vote scheduled today at the State House impacting thousands of working Hoosier women. We're working for you with what a proposed bill could mean if you're pregnant while on the job.
The waiting may be over on a trails expansion.
Something that needs to be completed.
Only on RTV6, Zionsville High School students lead a news literacy project. Their focus, a multi-million-dollar path finally on the road to progress.
Today, red dresses will take over downtown Indianapolis. We are live talking about the importance of the event and women's heart health.
And are you planning to book an Airbnb for your next trip? We're looking at how the company is verifying all 7 million of its listings so you don't waste your money.
6 o'clock here on your Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us.
I was going to interrupt us.
Oh, you're fine. You're
fine. We're still awaiting the results from the Iowa caucuses, and we continue this morning our National News Literacy Project with some amazing students from Zionsville Community High School. They're in the green room back there, so their story coming up in just a few moments.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting them. And when they were coming here this morning, they probably thought, oh, it's pretty nice out because when they're coming to work, still pretty warm out, but Todd, you say it's not sticking around.
Yeah, you know, things will be changing. Everybody won here across central Indiana yesterday. 67 degrees, new record high temperature. In fact, 2 days in a row, we set a record high temperature. That will end here today. We have a couple things going on. One, the colder air will start to move in throughout the day. And two, we're also dealing with some rain showers across parts of the area. It's a little more of a steady rainfall this morning from Bedford over into portions of Seymour and North Vernon. And this is essentially where the steady rain is going to stay, at least for the morning commute. As we slide to the north, there are a few spotty showers that have developed here up in the Anderson area, Muncie, over towards Newcastle, Rushville, down towards Connorsville. So the best advice is to have the umbrella handy as you walk out the door this morning, because at some point you're going to need it. It's probably more this afternoon that this wave of rain that you see back across parts of Arkansas and Missouri lifts to the north, and it's the middle half of the day that I think is probably the most wet portion of the day. As Raphael mentioned and Lauren mentioned, you're walking out the door to temperatures in the 50s right now, but look what happens throughout the day. These temperatures will drop, but by the time we get to the noon hour, already down to 42 degrees. We end up in the 30s later on this evening, so despite the warmth right now, make sure you have the heavier jacket, Lauren, as you walk out the door.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at your commute, I-70 here at West Street. So if you're heading into downtown, maybe from the west side, no problems. You can see traffic traveling both eastbound and westbound is moving along up to speed. Let's plan out your drive heading southbound on Interstate 69 this morning from State Road 13 down to the I-465 ramps. It's a quick 13-minute drive, no delays. That is traveling smoothly. Of course, we'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads as you're heading out there on this Tuesday. We'll let you know if there are any delays.
The time now is 6:03. The voting is over, but here at the live desk, still no results from the Iowa caucuses. Officials say that campaigns were told not to expect the outcome until later today. This morning, Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are all vying for first place. State officials point to inconsistencies between the vote counts. The Biden campaign criticized the considerable flaws in the vote reporting system in a letter to the Iowa Democratic Party. Now, we do know that ABC News plans a special report for as soon as those results come into our newsroom and throughout the network. We will also send you a push alert on the RTV6 app when we get those numbers. By the way, the candidates now head to New Hampshire. They're there this morning already for that state's primary, which is now 1 week from today. Meredith and Lauren?
Raphael, thank you. Covering the State House this morning, the full Senate is expected to vote today on a modified bill creating a committee to study pregnant women and workplace accommodations.
And this modified bill is actually significantly different from the original one that was put forward. And so our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning from the State House with all the details, telling us what we can actually expect to happen. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So on Monday, Senate Republicans voted in favor of an amendment that strips the bill and turns it into a committee rather than action. Under the original proposal, pregnant women would have been guaranteed on-the-job accommodations that are considered reasonable, like more frequent breaks, temporary transfer to a less strenuous position, or modified work schedules. The change means no meaningful action will happen with regards to pregnant women in the workplace in 2020. Now, before the vote, Democrats Democrat Greg Taylor had harsh words for his colleagues.
I bet you if there was a whole bunch of men who would get pregnant, this bill would have passed through quick. I guarantee you.
Republican Senator Victoria Spartz spoke in support of the amendment, saying she's concerned about the impact the initial bill would have on smaller businesses. Now, the Hoosier State has the third highest maternal mortality rate in the country, and according to the Institute for Working Families, 27 states have pregnancy discrimination laws, and Indiana is not one of them. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Thank you, Kelsey. The time now is 6:05. A delivery driver says he's calling it quits after being carjacked and robbed at gunpoint. Zach Shoemaker says the robbery happened 3 weeks ago near 40th and Ruckle Street in South Broad Ripple. He was delivering his last order of the night for Greek's Pizzeria. Police later told him the suspect robbed 3 stores using his vehicle. Now Shoemaker wants to warn other delivery drivers about the dangers of the job.
Before this, my biggest fear was that someone opens their door and their dog eats me. But, you know, now it's getting robbed. If you're a delivery driver, it's not worth it. Do something else.
You're not going back to it?
No.
Police telling RTV6 that this remains an ongoing investigation. This morning, no arrests have been made.
A Noblesville contractor is avoiding criminal prosecution after paying a customer restitution. Call 6 Investigates has been telling you about Mark Sellers and his business practices since 2018. Lisa Dunkel of Greenfield hired him to build a pole barn. She says Sellers took her money and didn't finish the job. Hancock County prosecutors filed a home improvement fraud charge against him in January of 2019. In May, Call 6 caught up with Sellers in court.
Mark, are you still doing work as a contractor?
What's that?
Are you still doing work as a contractor?
I work for other companies.
Are you going to pay people back?
Sellers paid Dunkel $4,000. She told RTV6, quote, "I am glad to get my money and that people are aware of his nonsense." Under the agreement, Mark Sellers cannot commit a criminal offense for a year. If he does, prosecutors can refile criminal charges.
The time now is 6:07. Today, dozens of people will don red dresses and run around Monument Circle, all to bring awareness to heart disease. The Red Dress Dash is part of the American Heart Month, a movement to unite communities with one common goal: eradicating heart disease and stroke. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning from Monument Circle. That's where that dash is taking place. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, and we actually came inside. We are in the Emmis building, and this is where people are going to meet at noon today. There's going to be activities. There's going to be a way to kind of learn how to do CPR. So lots of things happening here today for that Red Dress Dash, and I want to show you there's about 60 dresses behind me. So even if you're thinking, you know what, I'd love to do that, but I don't have anything red, not a problem. They have you covered. I'm here with Tim Harms with the American Heart Association. Just tell me a little bit about the Red Dress Dash, where this started.
Yeah, this is the 8th year for the Red Dress Dash, and really just came about. It's American Heart Month, and we want to do as much as we can to raise awareness that heart disease is the leading cause of death among men and women. And so we came up with this fun event, you know, something fun that we can do, but draw attention to a very serious cause.
And talk to me a little bit about this. You know, a lot of times we consider heart disease a man's disease. Talk to me about some of the statistics when it comes to women.
Yeah, it actually affects 1 in 3 women and causes the cause of death for 1 in 3 women as well. So it's something that historically has been underrepresented even in the medical field and dismissed a little bit. So it's important for women to know their numbers, know when they have the warning signs, and really kind of advocate for their own health.
Okay, very important stuff today. And again, this is happening at noon here at the Emmis building here on Monument Circle. This is where the activity is starting, and then the dash comes at 12:30, and it's a quick one. So if you're worried about the run, it's just around the circle. And if you don't have anything red to wear, they have you covered. We are going to be here all morning talking about this. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Alyssa, a great cause here in the Circle City. Thank you so much. RTV6 is partnering with local high schools to show students the importance of facts versus opinion. New at 6:12, Zionsville Community High School students get answers from town leaders on a long-promised rail trail. But first, let's check in with our very own TK, Todd Clausen, good morning.
Raphael, good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Still mild across the area right now, but we're starting to see the showers make their way into central Indiana. They're pretty spotty right now, with the exception of those rain showers down towards Seymour, where it's a little more steady, but the rain chances still ramp up as we progress throughout the course of the day. You see they peak there during the afternoon hours. We'll talk about today's storm and also another one heading our way for tomorrow that could bring some additional wintry weather to central Indiana. It's all in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now, 6:10. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
And check them from a reliable source.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time now is 6:13, and after years of waiting, a key section of the rail trail in Zionsville is now moving forward. The path is key to the town's economic future and where people decide to work and play.
I'm gonna stay out of the way and just listen. Okay. Sir, it is all yours.
Awesome. All right. So, what is the current status of the trail?
RTV6 teamed up with students at Zionsville Community High School, all part of a national news literacy campaign through our parent company, Scripps Media. We worked with students over several days. They decided to look into the rail trail in Zionsville. They wanted to know why the project had been in limbo, the pending costs, and its overall impact on their hometown. The students identified who they believed needed to be held accountable and who in their community needed to be heard on this issue. They came up with the questions. They conducted the interviews. They assisted with the camera work, and their input crafted this story they believe needs to be told.
Leanne McKay runs the E-Boom Bike Shop in Whitestown.
I've been an avid bike rider all my life.
In Zionsville, Will Pitts is a high school cross-country runner.
Most runners will tell you if you can run longer in one direction at any point in time, it'll be great for anybody.
Will and Leanne use the rail trail, but the popular path meant to connect their towns is not complete.
With all this development going in and all the traffic coming in, it's so important to keep focused on getting that last part connected. It really is.
Over the years, there's been a lot of talk about the future of the rail trail. The expectation is that it will allow people to bike or run without any interruptions between Zionsville and Whitestown. But we wanted to know what's taken so long to get that done.
It's been like a promise in Zionsville that they're going to expand our rail trail from downtown Zionsville all the way out to Whitestown.
And beyond.
And it just hasn't happened yet.
As part of the Scripps News Literacy campaign, 3 fellow Zionsville Community High School students and I began to investigate the cause of the delay.
Strong communities have strong economies.
We went to those in the know, the mayor and the president of the Board of Parks and Recreation, asking for accountability. We learned lack of money has been an issue until now.
It's in sight. It's in sight. It's not there quite yet, but we have the funding and the budget to move forward. The growth in the use of the trail is phenomenal.
The rail trail is currently about 4 miles and will be increased by 2 miles when connected to Whitestown and extended southward to Zionsville Road. Zionsville expects the extensions to the north and the south will cost over $4 million. Under the current plan, the funding includes a bond up to $2.5 million and a state grant worth $1.8 million. Zionsville won't hear about the grant until the end of March. The goal is to get the trail completed by the end of 2021 at the earliest and fully ready by 2022.
You're killing me. 2022. No.
This is the first that Leanne heard of the new timeline.
A lot of the cyclists that come in here, they say, I worry about riding on the road, so I don't ride my bike. We believe in the trail, we believe in its growth, and also the opportunities for all of us to ride on it. It's something that needs to be completed.
The rail trail is considered the centerpiece of the town's outreach for people seeking healthy living and a potential attraction for businesses. The mayor's office sits on the trail. It's the reason she moved to Zionsville years ago.
In a sense, it becomes a landmark. It becomes a feature. It becomes something that really is a crucial part of attracting people.
While talking to the mayor, we shared this moment.
Is there like a person dancing on the trail?
I saw my brother.
Yeah. So this is another thing. When it's a little bit gray outside, people wave a lot, which is pretty terrific.
The rail trail is known as the spine, the major spoke from which all other paths will intersect. But it's the connection bridging two towns that people hope is not derailed and remains on track. Working for you in Zionsville, Logan Steeler, RTV6.
Logan, thank you so much. The students I call Team Zionsville are currently involved with several media projects in their school. A big shout out to their teacher, Ms. Wagner, for her help on this literacy project. As for the trails in Zionsville, the town manages over a 20-mile-long trail system that links directly or indirectly to other trails. Within the next 2 years, there is a plan to add 3 miles of mountain bike trails in the future Overly Warman Park. The town leaders say their goal is to connect parks, schools, homes, and businesses. This is a living project as we learned from each other. We have several digital extras involving this literacy project right now just for you. We'll take you behind the scenes from our initial discussion with the students picking their topic to developing their questions for the interviews and collecting the data to tell their story. These are dynamic young people with bright futures. News gathering organizations would be lucky to have all 4 of them join our ranks in the future. You can find all of our digital extras right now with this story on the RTV6 app as well as the IndyChannel.com.
And their story is a great segue into weather, because if anyone is heading out maybe for a morning run or a bike ride on the trail, they're going to want to leave right about now to take advantage of not only the warm temps but the dry weather, Todd.
Yeah, you know, whether it's the trail in Zionsville, the Monon, the Beeline down in the Bloomington area, they were all busy the past couple days. And as Meredith mentioned, yeah, the earlier the better here today, only because the temperatures are the warmest they'll be right now. And the showers this morning are a little bit more scattered in nature. So that's why in the morning day part, I have grabbed the umbrella, because you'll likely need it at some point this afternoon and then into the evening hours as some of these showers start to move in. So we're dealing with some rain. We're also dealing with a cold front coming through, and you can see the temperature contrast and right where that cold front lies. 40 in Lafayette, 41 in Peru, but still 53 in Tipton, 58 in Indianapolis, close to 60 down in Bloomington, and we're at 60 in Muncie. Eventually, everybody sees these colder temperatures make their way into their neighborhood. The further south you are, the longer you hold on to the mild air that will be in place. But here's your hour-by-hour breakdown. By the time we get to the noon hour in Indianapolis, down to 42 degrees. By the time you walk out of the office or the kids head out of school, we're probably talking about temperatures that will be in the upper 30s. So while you probably don't think you need the heavier coat right now, you will need it later on today. So make sure you grab it and have it handy for this afternoon. Radar is showing steady rain down to the south, and with some pockets of even moderate rainfall there in North Vernon, just south of Seymour, and then right along US 50 as you work your way into portions of Lawrence County. It's more spotty and light in nature here off towards the east in Richmond, up towards the Muncie area, but there's still a lot of rain to head our way. And it's this batch of rain in southern Missouri that pushes in here by mid-afternoon, and that's probably when we have the best rain chances, or at least more widespread rain chances across the area. There's still a very sharp cutoff in northern locations, so the further north you are, the less likely you'll have of seeing a steady rainfall. The further south you are, your rainfall totals today will be a little bit higher. And then as that colder air comes in this evening, we may mix in a little bit of freezing rain and sleet across the area. It shouldn't be a huge deal tonight into tomorrow morning, but nonetheless, there could be a few slick spots here and there across the area. Now, the bigger issue is going to be Wednesday into Thursday. To the north, it'll be snow into a wintry mix, snow to some freezing rain right along I-70, and then mainly rain down to the south. Now, this comes in after the evening commute on Wednesday. That's the good news. You should be able to get home Wednesday evening as this precipitation starts to come in. Again, some snow to the north, some freezing rain along the metro area, and this will have a little more moisture with it. So we could see some issues, I think, for Thursday morning, 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday for your commute into work. So that's the time frame where we'll have the potential for some icing, and in those northern locations where it stays mainly snow, there could be about 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. Once we get past Thursday, it's pretty quiet into the weekend, but we do return to more seasonable temperatures in the mid to upper 30s with low temperatures down into the 20s. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Here's a look on the northeast side, I-465 near Binford Boulevard. Traffic's picking up. As you can see, no crashes to report around the metro area. Great news if you're heading out early this Tuesday morning.
Do you remember when these were on store shelves new at 625? When you'll be able to dunkaroo again.
And challenge yourself to set an alarm to go to bed and get a healthy 7 to 9 hours of sleep. February is American Heart Month, and each morning here on Good Morning Indiana, we'll share a tip to help you and your family stay heart healthy. The tips are part of the Go Red for Women campaign sponsored by the American Heart Association. Time right now is 6:22. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Now at Ashley Home Store, this is home.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. If you are a kid from the 90s, so us, you may recognize these snacks.
Do you know the 90s?
I haven't had these, actually, so I can't even talk very much. We know Dunkaroos are making a comeback.
What were you doing during your childhood?
Like, where were these at the Casey household? In case you're not familiar, they're cookies that you dunk in separate frosting and sprinkles. You could see them on store shelves this summer, so I guess I'll be buying some.
Lauren?
Good, yeah.
Those
you
cookies,
need to give Archie some Dunkaroos.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They were in Johnson County in the 90s, by the way.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
I lived through the 90s.
I was going to say, I don't think it was a thing here.
Probably alongside the Gushers and other Koala Yummies. Yeah. Did you catch the Broadway hit Hamilton while it was in Indy?
Yes.
If you didn't, you'll be able to catch the show now in movie theaters. You'll have to wait until next year, though. Disney says the movie will star its original cast. The movie will include previously recorded stage performances in New York at the Richard Rodgers Theater, where the show first opened.
Cool.
I'm in. Now, do you remember that from yesterday on Good Morning Indiana? And it was
How could we forget?
It was on the Super Bowl as well. Todd Clausen was wondering, what is that? Well, it's the unique noise that Shakira made through the Super Bowl halftime show. This morning, people familiar with the Middle Eastern culture tell us her actions may have been what they call a zagrauta. That's a traditional expression of joy and celebration, though it's commonly used at weddings.
There
and now,
you go.
of course, everyone is doing it around the country.
Yeah.
So you want to celebrate? Now you know what. That's what you do.
Do you want to demonstrate for us?
I think
you say you could do it yesterday.
I think it's beautiful outside. I think, you know, your forecast will have tongues wagging throughout central Indiana. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, yesterday they did, with that high of 65, but things are changing here already this morning. For one, we're dealing with some rain showers. It's a steady rain from Bedford over to Seymour and North Vernon, but that steady rain pretty much stays to our south here this morning. It's spotty showers as you work your way to the north, but later on this afternoon, we'll all get into better rain chances, so you probably want to have the umbrella handy as you walk out the door. The other thing to highlight here this morning, the colder air that'll be working its way in. Still really mild from Muncie to Indianapolis to Martinsville and Sullivan and points to the south, but there's the colder air to the northwest. That wins out as the day goes on. We're all into the 30s by the time you head home from work.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. People across the world use Airbnb to look for places to stay while on trips.
But how do you know the place you're reserving isn't too good to be true?
John Matarese explains how that company is actually working to verify its rentals so you don't waste your money.
Airbnb has a big job ahead of it this year. It's promising to review and verify all 7 million of its listings by the end of 2020 after soaring complaints of fake listings and bait and switch properties. An investigation by Vice magazine last fall confirmed what many users had been saying. Some Airbnb listings were indeed too good to be true. The report found cases where the actual home or apartment looked nothing like the photos in the Airbnb listing. In other cases, renters complained they were told at the last minute that their rental was not available and said they were switched into smaller, run-down apartments. So Airbnb says it will now review every listing, making sure what you see is what you get. It will flag owners accused of last-minute switches, and it will investigate owners accused of charging guests for fake damage. Airbnb CEO says, quote, "We'll make sure we stand behind every single listing." So look for some changes by the end of this year so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good Morning Indiana.
For more cost-saving money tips and ideas, visit the money section of our website, theindychannel.com.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday morning, this is your 6:30 news feed. In Muncie, a man accused of running over another man with his car is due in court today. Police say that Aaron Harmon hit and killed Matthew Smith in the parking lot of the Cheers Tavern back in October. Officers say it happened after an argument between the two men.
Now to northwestern Indiana, police have charged a man with attacking his grandparents with a knife. Police say 22-year-old Nicholas Powers was angry with his grandfather for threatening to kick him out of the house for smoking marijuana. Officers say he stabbed both of his grandparents with a butcher knife. Both were taken to a hospital. The grandfather remains in critical condition.
Franklin College has launched an anonymous tip line to report possible misconduct by its former president. Thomas Minor was fired last month after being arrested in Wisconsin. He's accused of exchanging sexually explicit messages with someone he believed was a teenage boy. College administrators want to find out if there are any victims on the Franklin campus.
Earth Fare is going out of business. The organic grocery chain announced the decision on Monday. All 50 remaining stores will begin liquidating merchandise as the company tries to find a buyer for its assets. Earth Fare's stores in Greenwood, Carmel, and Noblesville all closed last month.
Fort Wayne International Airport is helping new moms travel with ease. The airport now has private secure room for breastfeeding mothers to nurse and pump. The addition is in line with the Friendly Airports for Mothers Act of 2017. That law requires all commercial airports to provide accommodations for breastfeeding mothers at each passenger terminal of the airport.
All right, if you're heading out for the airport right now, your flight will be dry as it takes off. If you're heading to the airport, though, later today, there's going to be some rainfall.
Yeah, you know, better rain chances once we get into the afternoon hours. Okay. But everybody, as you walk out the door, you need to do two things here this morning. And that is, one, take the umbrella with you. And two, also have the heavier jacket. Now, if you're walking out the door right now, you're like, why do I need a heavier jacket? It's really, really mild. Things will be changing, though, in a big time way as we get into the afternoon hours. So have the umbrella handy and the jacket. So temperatures right now for most of us are probably sitting in the 50s. The exception, those of you in Lafayette, Delphi, Logansport, up towards the Peru area, already into the 40s. But you notice the temperature trend from right now at 58 degrees. Even by the time we get to 8 a.m., the temperature is down to 53. Most of us are dry right now. The exception is this steady band of rain from Shoals to Bedford over towards the Seymour area. A few sprinkles in the Columbus area and then up towards Richmond as well. But most of you should be able to get to work with dry conditions here today. But as Meredith alluded to, there is going to be more rain later on this afternoon, which you see here in southern Missouri. That's what's going to arrive by midday and beyond. So throughout the morning hours, look at your temperature trend. I'll take you out from 9 a.m. till noon. We're still at 50 degrees at 9 a.m., down to 42 degrees with the rain moving in by the noon hour. By the time you get out the door from work, heading home this evening, temperatures will be in the 30s. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a live look right now at your commute down on the south side of town. This is a live picture of I-65 near Edgewood Avenue. This is just south of the 465 ramp, so you can see traffic's picking up both northbound and southbound at this hour. No delays to slow you down. Well, this morning, a woman from Anderson is facing prison time after she was convicted in the neglect death of her 18-month-old son. Jennifer Harris was found guilty by a jury on Monday. She was charged with neglect of a dependent resulting in death. Harris's charge stemmed from the 2018 death of her baby, Harlan Haynes. The boy died after a car crash, but doctors later found that his death was caused by injuries stemming from abuse. Harris's boyfriend, Dylan Tate, is already serving life in prison after being convicted of murder in that case.
Covering the State House this morning, the full Senate is expected to vote today on a modified bill that would create a committee to study pregnant women and workplace accommodations.
This vote is coming after state lawmakers essentially took out all the language out of that bill that this year could have added those accommodations for women who are working while they are pregnant. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning from the State House with all the details. Kelsey, tell us more.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So The decision that was made here in the State House yesterday basically means that no meaningful action will happen with regards to pregnant women in the workplace in 2020. On Monday, Senate Republicans voted in favor of an amendment that strips the bill and turns it into a committee rather than action. Under the original proposal, pregnant women would have been guaranteed on-the-job accommodations that are considered reasonable, like more frequent breaks, temporary transfer to a less strenuous position, or modified work schedules. Now, before the vote, Democrat Greg Taylor had harsh words for his colleagues, saying if men were getting pregnant, this bill would have already passed. And Republican Victoria Sparks spoke in support of the amendment, saying she's concerned about the impact the initial bill would have had on smaller businesses.
Some of these accommodations what can create that companies wouldn't even want to hire females, and we don't want to be in a position like that.
The maternal mortality rate in Indiana is something Call 6 Investigates is following closely. The Hoosier State has the third highest maternal mortality rate in the country. And according to the Institute for Working Families, 27 states have pregnancy discrimination laws, and Indiana is not one of them. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. State lawmakers also killed a bill that could have undermined the effort to reduce marijuana prosecutions in Marion County. Republican Senator Mike Young decided to skip his bill that would have allowed the state attorney general to prosecute crimes if local prosecutors declined to do so. Instead, Young says he will push for a resolution sending the idea to a summer study committee. The bill was a direct response to the Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears. Last September, Mears announced his office would no longer pursue charges for possession of small amounts of marijuana. Mears says that it was his attempt to address a crime that's disproportionately enforced against people of color. Also on Monday, the House narrowly approved a bill that could slow the closing of power plants in Indiana that are fueled by coal. The bill would require the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission to hold public hearings anytime a utility tries to transition from coal to a cleaner form of energy. Supporters say they are trying to save jobs. Opponents included utilities that are trying to transition to energy sources that don't contribute to climate change. The bill now goes to the Senate.
Despite major changes, a bill to help Hoosier children get and wear helmets while riding bicycles, skateboards, or skates has passed the Indiana House of Representatives. The bill initially gave officers the ability to write $25 tickets to children who don't have a proper helmet. Police could also impound the riding device until they show they have a proper helmet. But those conditions were removed from the bill. Some lawmakers considered the proposal too intrusive. The bill now focuses on providing free helmets and outreach programs.
At 6:36, we are talking about hiring Hoosiers. Amazon will soon be hiring Hoosiers right here in central Indiana. We're working to learn more about the company's plan to open a new distribution center in Hancock County. Right now, we know that facility is under construction on West County Road 300 North. That's northwest of Greenfield. More than 800 full-time employees will be hired there. Wages will start at $15 an hour with full medical, vision, and dental insurance. Other benefits include a 401k with a 50% match and up to 20 weeks of maternal and paternal paid leave. Another retailer is also hiring Hoosiers. Target is looking to fill positions for its new store in West Lafayette in Tippecanoe County. The company needs to hire 65 people for its new small format store that will open on State Street. That's on April the 5th. Hiring events will be held Friday and next Tuesday, February the 11th at Young Hall on the Purdue University campus. Friday's hours are from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on February the 11th. It's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you're encouraged to apply online at target.com/careers ahead of the job fairs. Good luck with those jobs.
Well, Pete Buttigieg is declaring victory, but the truth is we don't know who won the Iowa caucuses for the Democrats just yet. More coming up on the chaotic ending to a long campaign in the race for the White House. It's 6:38. We'll be right back.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
It's time for our Democracy 2020 coverage. The time now is 6:40, and it's chaos in the Hawkeye State. The first of the nation presidential caucuses in Iowa, they ended early with this man, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, declaring victory over his fellow Democratic presidential contenders.
But the truth is, no results at all have been released from Iowa, and it's because of what the Iowa Democratic Party is calling inconsistencies in the count. ABC's Inez de la Cuetara in Des Moines tells us the final vote count won't come until later today.
Overnight, frustration from campaigns and their supporters.
Thank you so much. So listen, it is too close to call, so I'm just going to tell you what I do know. You won!
The Iowa Democratic Party not releasing any results, saying in a statement they're worried about quality checks and inconsistencies.
And I want to make sure they're very careful in their deliberations. And indications are, from our indications, it's going to be close.
The holdup raising questions about the new app used this cycle to report results, but the party insisting the problem is not the results of any hack or intrusion.
Of course, I'm concerned. I'd like to see those numbers, but I think they'll get them.
ABC News learning officials are now hand counting the results, but the complication is adding a new layer of doubt to an already uncertain primary season. There was no clear frontrunner in Iowa. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Pete Buttigieg had all been hoping winning the Hawkeye state would help them break out of the pack.
I have a good feeling we're going to be doing very, very well here in Iowa.
The Biden campaign indicating they may not trust the party, writing in a statement, "We believe that the campaigns deserve full explanations and relevant information regarding the methods of quality control you are employing and an opportunity to respond before any official results are released."
And the campaigns are now moving on to New Hampshire, which votes in a week. The Iowa Democratic Party says it will release the results today. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News in Des Moines, Iowa.
And even though they do not have results, the Democratic candidates are already moving on to New Hampshire in that state's primary next week. Overnight, candidates including Senators Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar arrived. Businessman Andrew Yang is also pressing forward, even though he was expected to finish well back in the pack in Iowa. Right now, Senator Bernie Sanders has a large lead among the Democratic candidates in most New Hampshire polls.
Coming up on Good Morning Indiana, red dresses. Come on, put them on. They're about to take over downtown. Do you have yours? Coming up, a live report on the big dash around the circle and why it's key for women to talk about the health of their hearts.
And if you're looking for a romantic way to spend your Valentine's Day weekend, well, we have the perfect option for you. Coming up just after the break, we have your chance to win tickets to see the Indianapolis Ballet. Todd.
As you walk out the door this morning, you're walking out to mild temperatures still across central Indiana, but that will be changing throughout the duration of your morning commute. Will drop about 10 degrees with a few spotty showers, but better rain chances will arrive later on this afternoon as all that rain to our southwest makes its way here into central Indiana. We'll talk about the temperature trend and these rain showers coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now, 6:44. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back. Today, dozens of people will don red dresses and run around Monument Circle, and it's all to bring awareness to heart disease. The Red Dress Dash is part of the American Heart Month, a movement to unite communities with one common goal, eradicating heart disease and stroke. So our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning from Monument Circle, where this dash is taking place. Alyssa, what's going on there later today?
So, you know what, it's going to be a really exciting event. They've been doing this for a few years now, and it really turns out quite a few people, dozens of people will be throwing on red dresses just like the ones behind me and running around the circle. Now, I have to admit, I forgot to put on my red dress today, but I'm going to pick one of these in the next few minutes and throw it on, so I am festive for this event. I'm here with Tim Harms. You're with the American Heart Association. Just talk to me about this event.
Yeah, good morning. It's an exciting event, a fun event to raise awareness for a serious cause. You know, heart disease is the leading cause of death among women, and so with our Go Red for Women movement, we want to just raise awareness about prevention and taking action.
And there's a few new things this year, specifically the CPR training. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we're going to offer free hands-only CPR training. So it's a skill that you can learn in about a minute or two and increases the chance of survival for somebody in sudden cardiac arrest by about 50%.
And today, this event, you guys have had it in the morning in the past, and today is the first time you guys are having it at noon. So we're kind of encouraging people to just come to the Circle during their lunch hour.
Yeah, our other big change this year is moving it to noon, and so we think it's a great opportunity on your lunch hour. Come on over. We're going to have some sandwiches and things for you to have a little snack and a little program, have some fun with people, and then do their dash around the circle and really raise awareness outside to the public about heart disease.
Great event. Thank you so much for being here this morning, Tim. And I am going to pick one of these dresses. I'm going to hand you this microphone, Tim. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Oh, wardrobe change. What is she going to choose? Okay, well, she can get away, Alyssa, you can get away with the sleeveless right now-ish, but you'll probably regret that decision in a few hours.
Maybe she'll need an umbrella at the very least.
Yeah.
But whatever she picks, she will look fantastic. And just like you ladies do. Let's check in with our haberdasher, Mr. Todd Claus. Hey, what's going on?
You know, a red raincoat would be good if you have it, but it's only one quick lap there around the circle, so you can run that pretty quick. But I would grab the umbrella as you walk out the door here this morning. You don't necessarily need it right now in most locations, but later on this afternoon, the rain will become a little more widespread. Now, definitely the talk of the town the past 2 days has been the temperatures, and rightfully so. 2 days in a row, we set the record high yesterday all the way up to 67. The change, though, unfortunately, already starting to take place as this cold front will continue to push down to the south. You notice 40 already in Lafayette, 41 in Peru, 58 is the current temperature right now in Indianapolis, still holding on to 60 in Bloomington. Everybody will eventually fall through the 40s into the 30s later on this afternoon. So despite the mild temperatures and the warmth that's out there right now, have the heavier coat for later on this afternoon, because look at this. By the time we get to 1 p.m., the temperature's down to 41 degrees. As you walk out the door from work and school later on this afternoon, temperatures will be in the 30s across the area, with the rain chances starting to ramp up. So far this morning, the rain's really just been confined here to southern locations right along US 50 from Bedford over towards the Seymour area. There's been a few spotty showers in Columbus as well as Bloomington, and also here to the north in Muncie and over towards the Richmond area. But most of you should be able to get to work just fine this morning with dry conditions. But this is a pretty big storm system, the first of two heading our way this week. And it's what you see here in southern Missouri and northern Arkansas that's going to be coming in later on this afternoon. On TrueCast, you could see how the rain expands for your lunch hour. There will be a pretty sharp cutoff, though, to the north. So the further north you live, probably less in the way of rain chances throughout the day. In fact, some of you, once you work your way into the Peru area, Lafayette, may go through the whole day with hardly any rain at all. That's a different case for those of you watching and living in southern locations in central Indiana. By this evening, most of the moisture is out of here by the time the colder air gets in here, with temperatures below freezing. So overnight, there could be a little bit of a light wintry mix, but we're not expecting big issues come tomorrow morning with that system as it makes its way through the area. However, tomorrow evening, it's a different story. Most of your Wednesday is going to be dry, but once we get to the evening hours, that's when the next storm system arrives, and you notice the temperatures, they're going to be right around freezing. So when that comes in, a little better chance tomorrow evening of wintry weather across the area compared to tonight. It's mainly snow to the north. It's a wintry mix here in the central portion of the state, all rain down to the south, and this will impact, I think, the Thursday morning drive. As far as the snow goes, less than an inch along I-70. Lafayette up towards Peru, about 1 to 3 inches, I think, will be possible. Again, this is Thursday. The bigger concern for most of us, though, for the Thursday morning drive will be the potential for some freezing rain. Obviously, a little time to fine-tune that forecast, as a degree or two makes a huge difference with freezing rain. Once we get past that storm system, though, pretty quiet weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with more seasonal temperatures in the mid to upper 30s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We do have a traffic alert for drivers right now on the northwest side. Take a look here as you're traveling northbound on I-65, approaching 82nd Street and the dog leg there up near I-865. We have a crash here blocking the left lane of traffic and the shoulder. You can see traffic is able to get by in that one right lane, but it is moving pretty slowly at this hour. Expect delays as you head through that area. To avoid this, take I-465 northbound to I-865, head westbound, and from there you can get back on I-65. We'll continue to monitor this and keep you updated.
Another tough night for the Pacers at the Fieldhouse. The Pacers playing with without TJ Warren, who suffered a concussion on Saturday against the Knicks. Last night, the defense couldn't hold on to a 2-point lead the Pacers had at the half. They were done largely by Kristaps Porzingis. He had a season-high 38 points and 12 rebounds for Dallas. The Mavericks went on to win 112-103. The Pacers will try to avoid a 3-game losing streak when they visit Toronto tomorrow.
And now is the moment you've been waiting for. Right now is your chance to win 2 tickets to see the Indianapolis Ballet's performance of Love is in the Air, Ruby Zanaya's song, and Tango Forever. The show is set for Sunday, February 16th. A great